Hello guys, this is UniversalGiant, and welcome back to Breath of the Wild. Last time, we defeated Fireblight Ganon up on the top peak of Death Mountain, wherever it happens to be, just take my word for it. We freed Daruk's spirit, he was able to take control of Vah Rudania, and now we're going to be heading northeast up to Divine Beast Vametto. I also decided to bring the horse over here through the rain, so unless you were really interested in watching somebody just ride a horse through the rain for 2 or 3 minutes, you probably didn't miss anything interesting. Oreo, please, just... Fine, down, you're going that way. I wanted to do this the easy way, but if you want to do this the hard way, I'm not going to complain about it. You will, I won't. So the astute viewer will have noticed, yes, I decided to change my clothes, yes, I took a little bit of damage. I don't know why you didn't turn. You really don't like rocks, do you? It's okay. We'll get down here whether you want to or not. So you didn't miss anything all that interesting. I asked the Guardian to take a little bit off the top, but he wound up clipping my scalp with the laser instead of, you know, giving me the proper haircut I was asking for, but that's okay. Today we only have 2 Divine Beasts left to go, and the one you guys wanted me to do next is the one that we saw when we were... You can make it up that hill, I know you have before. Oreo, come on, let's go. I think this is the bridge. Is this the bridge? This is the bridge. So we saw earlier on when we were exploring Hyrule Field, wherever the bird is. I'm pretty sure the bird is over here somewhere. Just take my word for it, it's on this side of the map. So even though Vametto is pretty far out of the way compared to all of the others, I mean, remember we started off on the Great Plateau, so this would have put us closer to this one, but we wouldn't have been able to see it because it's surrounded by mountains. Then we started with Varuda, which was the closest one to Kakariko and to Hateno, or I had them backwards, so it kind of made sense that you'd run into that one first. And then, of course, the volcano is always an interesting spot to travel to, so that's the reason we did Vah Rudania. Vametto is probably the one that's the farthest out of the way geographically, which is a bit weird considering it probably takes the least effort to get to, or is the least difficult to go through in terms of how much time it takes. And more on that when we actually get there. 2 orbs to guide you. Is this the one I think it is? Maybe not. Okay, well this one's pretty straightforward. There are 2 orbs. The idea is to get both orbs into their respective slots, and that'll allow us to get up there where the... what is it, where the monk is? So it doesn't give us a platform, but it does give us this thing that juts out every so often. And you've seen enough of these platforms already. It's one of those things that'll raise once we hit the switch for it. There's probably a faster way to go through this, I just don't remember what it is. Maybe you can use an object to lift yourself up early. I honestly don't remember. Oh, did we break a bow? I forgot what I'm missing at this point. Because we have a lot of good stuff already, and it's always so long since the last time I played, I forget all of the nice stuff that we have. So it's always a pleasant surprise when I come back and see all the nice stuff I have. It's kind of surprising that we still have the light scale trident, but I suppose we didn't really use it for much fighting anyway. And I think the Zora weapons are fairly sturdy. So they have pretty good durability, given what they are. Because I don't think you would expect silver to be a very sturdy metal with details. I'm pretty sure those ore weapons are all made out of silver. But anyway, we're heading into an area of the map that sort of looks like a desert, but isn't quite a desert. It's more just dry canyons. And I really like the aesthetic of a lot of these places. I mean, when you get up close, the textures don't look that impressive, but at least from a distance, it looks all hollowed out and dry. It's really neat. I think this area is called the Ridgelands. And I specifically remember the Ridgelands because of the tower. I think that's the tower. Is it? It's close by somewhere. I could have sworn we ride past it. Maybe I'm mistaken. Maybe that's the other tower. But I specifically remember the Ridgeland Tower being one of the most difficult towers to access. At least until I learned the easy way to access it. But I suppose that's this game in a nutshell. And you also have these mushroom-looking things. The small ones, for the most part, act pretty much the same way as trees do, where you can chop them down and have them form a log and give you wood when you chop that down. So I don't know if those are actually trees, and if they are, if they're based on any trees that exist in the real world, because I've never seen anything that looks like that. They just look like giant stone pillars. But it's really fascinating to me. All of the different areas have some sort of unique feel to them. Some distinguishing feature that sets them apart from all of the others. I don't think we want to go down this way. I think it's around the other way. So all you have to do is spend a little bit of time looking around at the landscape, and you can almost always identify exactly where you are. Oh, it's really nice how in the distance you can even see... I'm pretty sure that's Valmetto up there. It's got that purple glow going and everything. Oh, so this is our first instance of a lightning storm. So if we go into our inventory, you can see that there's a little electrical symbol glowing over our equipment. If we leave that equipment, active, or if we leave it on, then we will be struck by electricity. So this is the reason why you always want to have non-metallic equipment, otherwise it will kill you. And I guarantee everyone has died to lightning at least once. So let's see if we can... Oh yeah, we don't even need to worry about climbing this. So lightning is devastating to be hit by. I think we can climb this. Usually if you do, like, 3 grabs, and then jump for it. I thought I would have made that. Really? Okay, do we have 2 sets of climbing gear? We only have that. I thought the little extra oomph would have given me the extra distance that we needed. I actually thought we made it up there. I suppose I was wrong. Well, there is one other thing that we could do to pass the time, quite literally. I think I've shown this off once. And I guess while we're in here, where are you, Beetle? Customer appreciation? Hey! I'll take plenty of those if I can afford them. Alright, so I think I have a couple things to sell. You never know when you need money. Alright, arrows. Arrows $6 a pop, I don't know if I like that. One other thing we can use the stables for is an inn. Now this will restore our hearts, but it will also allow us to pass the time, which will in turn, hopefully, change the weather.
Link, be on your guard. Ganon's power grows. It rises to its peak under the hour of the blood moon. By its glow, the aimless spirits of monsters slain in the name of the light return to flesh. Link, please be careful.
And every so often, overnight, you will be greeted with that message of a blood moon, which does exactly what Zelda said it does. All of the overworld enemies, and I think a number of the ones that you've defeated in, say, Hyrule Castle and whatnot, come back. And that's especially true for the overworld bosses. And it's the game's way of making sure that you always have access to more weapons and such. Since your weapons break all the time, and there are only a finite number of enemies in the game... Oh, I still have that equipped. I'll want to change that. Let's do 1, 2, U... See, the idea here is we just want to hold the ball in place and then shoot it a couple times, and it'll hit the switch. Or it'll fall into its slot, I should say. Actually, we want to go there, because I think there's a treasure chest over there. But the point of the Blood Moon is to make sure that you never really run out of weapons. Considering if you defeated all of the enemies that had all of the weapons for you, then you wouldn't be able to get weapons as easily anymore. Or at least I assume that's the reason why they have it. I guess my arrow's still there too, that's neat. So I think when you start up the game, it's not entirely consistent when it starts. Because I think when the Blood Moon activates is also dependent on how many overworld enemies you've killed, or specifically how many overworld bosses. The more of them you kill, the faster it'll speed up the Blood Moon clock. I don't know exactly how it works. All I know is that when I usually play, at least the way that I prefer to play... Oh, we're still a ways off from Vametto, aren't we? He's all the way over there. We're still all the way over here. I was getting a little ahead of myself thinking that we were at a stable that was closer to it. Here we're just at Tabantha. Actually, while we're here... I'm not at all interested in this Great Fairy thing. However, I do not mind money. So he'll just give us 500 rupees. We will take his money and run. Don't tell him that's what we're doing. He'll get very upset at us. Can't say no to free money. But usually about 5 to 6 hours into my playthroughs when I'll start, or when I'll get the first Blood Moon. And I remember when the game first came out, at least for Switch owners, that the Blood Moon, which is supposed to only show up around midnight, or exactly at midnight on certain nights, there are occasions when it would just happen out of nowhere, even in the middle of the day. I don't know if that's a problem that they've since rectified. I think it only happened to me once on the Wii U. Oh no, please, you don't see me. I always hated going through there. It's not as difficult as it looks, but if one of those Skywatchers spots you, it's very, very difficult to take it out. I think it's the only enemy in the game that at least I haven't come up with a consistent strategy for defeating. Maybe there is one and I'm just unaware of it. But at least I personally find it to be the most difficult enemy in the game to take down. Even more than that one you're thinking of. Because at least that one I can fight. But the Blood Moons you can't predict without having some outside help to figure out when it's going to come. And there are a few things that happen on the Nights of Blood Moons. There's one in particular I'm not going to be showing off, which is somewhere nearby, I think. Which is really annoying to do if you don't have a proper setup for it. And there are a couple of other things that happen on the Nights of Blood Moons. Like, I think if you cook food, you have a chance of having stronger effects from it. Like when we would bake apples together, I think if we had 3 apples, it would normally give us 3 hearts, and there were some times when it would give us double that. I think you have a higher chance of that Did I bypass the place I wanted to go? Pretty sure that's where we want to go. Horses tend to take it slower on narrow passageways like that, and you're very thankful for it, because if they don't, chances are they just fall off. And there were a couple of times I've seen people, when they're fighting overworld bosses, will accidentally or unknowingly fight them on the night of a blood moon, and then just as they defeat the overworld boss, before they can pick up its spoils, the blood moon will pass. It'll not only respawn the boss, but it'll also despawn all of the stuff that came with it. So they won't get any of the spoils from... I think I'll just leave you here, Aurea. It also despawns all of the spoils from defeating the boss. I suppose I'll do just that. Thank you, person whose name I immediately forgot because I'm just a stupid traveler. So I suppose this is where the Rito live. It kind of makes sense. I mean, there was a big bird flying around wherever it is now. There it is, right above us. Isn't that neat? I think it's neat. I really like how you can just see the divine beasts flying around or walking around, just doing their thing in the overworld. I mean, it doesn't look like any of them are necessarily doing anything drastic to affect the way of life. But as you can imagine, for a race of people that depend on the skies in order to be able to move, having this thing around probably doesn't help. And with that, we've officially made it to Rito Village. And of course, this song, you can guess what it's based off of. But more on that after we turn in our 4 spirit orbs. Gotta get ourselves more stamina, because if we had just that tiny sliver extra, we would have been able to make it up to that shrine earlier. Every bit helps. I mentioned when playing Wind Waker that Dragon Roost Island was my favorite music track in that game, and perhaps my favorite music track in any video game. Oh, I can actually afford that. Well, I know I'm going to buy these. And I guess since I have money, I'll buy this too. But I think we're out of money now. So you can imagine we're probably going to need some cold resistance. I'll just strap that on now. And when I first got to this area and heard this music and realized what it was one of the biggest moments of happiness for me. I know it's kind of weird to say that just about a single music track, but it really did have that kind of effect on me. Meanwhile, in Shrineland, oh no. There's an easy way to do this, or an easy way to figure out what to do. But whenever I come here, I always forget how it's supposed to be. You could probably guess. What we're doing here is trying to get all of the propellers to spin at the same time. So we just turn these to get them all to spin. And I think I may already be doing something wrong. Well, it'll be more obvious to me once I get all of these going, because I think yeah, this is the same thing that happened to me the last time I was here. I knew that I had to do... See, one of the ones on the end, you don't need to be facing along the side, because you can just have two of them blowing in this way. I think it's this one. And then this one you can turn the other way. Because you can see those two are still blowing, so we don't need that facing that way. Which means this one we can just have facing this way, and that should open it up. That usually gives me more trouble than it should. I have no excuse for it, it just does. It's easier if you go back up to the start and get a good view of the entire room all at once. And you saw it took a couple of seconds for it to register that the fan was still going. The game has a couple of fail-safe checks to make sure you're not using some sort of weapon to just blow the fan for a couple of seconds. So it waits to make sure that you can't have done that to blow the weapon, or to blow the fan to make sure it was working, that it has to use the fans in order to activate the propellers. I mean, that sort of check doesn't always work, and we'll probably run into a couple of shrines where that's true, and we do cheese it. But I'm not sure if you can cheese that one. Oh good, that's exactly what I came here for. I like that we're on the same page. Oh, that's unfortunate. I guess we have to help him. Sounds good to me. Oh. Hey there. Are we supposed to talk to you? Well, that's a good start. I guess we'll head to the flight range then. Sounds good to me. Isn't it funny? We've seen statues made of previous champions, and the Rito feel nothing about Rivali to the point where they just name a couple of planks of wood after him. What kind of person would Rivali have to be if not only did they fail to make some sort of statue memorializing him, but they just made a wooden platform for him?
Impressive, I know. Very few can achieve a mastery of the sky. Yet I have made an art of creating an updraft that allows me to soar. It's considered to be quite the masterpiece of aerial techniques, even among the Rito. With proper utilization of my superior skills, I see no reason why we couldn't easily dispense with Ganon. Now then, my ability to explore the firmament is certainly of note. But let's not, pardon me for being so blunt, let's not forget the fact that I am the most skilled archer of all the Rito. Yet despite these truths, it seems that I've been tapped to merely assist you. All because you happen to have that little darkness-sealing sword on your back. I mean, it's just asinine. Unless you think you can prove me wrong? Maybe we should just settle this one-on-one. But where? Oh, I know. How about up there? Oh, you must pardon me. I forgot you have no way of making it up to that divine beast on your own. Good luck sealing the darkness!
I take it back. They disliked him so much. Not only did they not name, or did they not make a wooden platform after him, they just renamed an existing wooden platform after him. They just put this sign up. Say, oh, Rivali's dead. We have to do something. Yeah, let's put this sign over here. But I believe the flight range is over in this direction. I think we can make it over to this rock pillar without falling. There is water down there. You know what? I don't think there's anything down there, actually. I don't even remember if you can swim down there. You probably can. I don't remember a thing being down there, though. They don't have any sort of land for you to stand on. It's just water and cliffs. But I'm pretty sure there isn't anything of note down there whatsoever, which is weird. It's one of the very few places in this game I remember there being nothing. But this is also one of the areas where... oh, horses. This is going to be irritating, isn't it? Uh-huh. Tell you what, let's do ice arrows, so just in case I miss my shot with this guy, I should be able to freeze the horse. Because if I don't do that, fighting him is going to be a bit of a challenge. Also, fighting that thing would have been a challenge. There are a number of times I'm just trying to run up here, and that guy sneaks up on me and just backstabs me. Unfortunately, the horse was the one that had to suffer for it, and I do feel bad for that. But nothing could be done. I'm sure the horse will be fine anyway. So this is also the shrine where they teach you that you can ride updrafts. So you can imagine... Hi there, buddy. That wasn't what I intended to happen. Oh, and the goodies you dropped went away. So we've seen updrafts before, but you can probably imagine we're going to be making pretty good use of these where we're going. As seems the trend to do when you get to a new area. If you're going to be using a mechanic, they have a shrine about it. Nothing wrong with that. Trying to remember... Oh yeah, there is you over there. I forget what's in there, but we'll probably get it. This one took me a while to figure out, but there's another vent in here. And then we can just fly over the one all the way over here that probably has nothing useful in it. I've used this one, what, 5, 6 times. I think I'll be okay with it. Also, you may have noticed that the symbol that was on Rivali's landing is the one for the Rito. That is also the one that is on our paraglider. That is not coincidence. It took me a while to piece that together, too. It's something you've had from the very beginning of the game. And all this time, it's had the symbolism for the Rito.